called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me. Oh. My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
I am here. I'm on the air, and welcome to. I was setting up for a couple of different interviews I'm bringing you today. Anyways, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station. AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, TV Live, Rumble, Spreaker, Streaker, you name it, I am there because I want to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news. You can get bad news anywhere you tune in. Where if it bleeds, it leads. But here, there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. No Kanye, formerly or now known as. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. Why not 100% of the time? Well, if you're happy 100% of the time, you're dead. And I don't want dead people watching or listening. Instead, I want you to learn on this show, which has lasted, let's see, I haven't done the scroller yet. I believe we are on, today is consecutive week 603. So for all of those people who said a show that wasn't ranting and raving and angry and all of that, I'm so glad you were wrong. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so happy. I've got a lot of new and old Cashew members in my stream. If you're driving, please do not, try to type in the comments. But if you're not in your car and in front of your computer, please do go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe. And I believe we are really, really close to 2,000 now, 301,000 views. But you'll meet my Cashew gallery. We've got Troy Pacelli, who is my co-captain of the fan club for this show. And I'm going to be a guest on his show this coming Friday, actually, 7 p.m. on YouTube. So go free subscribe to Last Call with Troy Pacelli. And then we've got Sci-Fi Mombi. Thank you. Happy Monday to you too. And Monday. I'm not going to do rainy days and Mondays always get me up, actually, because one, it's not raining. And the theme for this year, and I think we're going to carry it on to next year, is Go Up. Hashtag UP stands for Unlimited Possibilities. And that's what I would like you to focus in on. Let's see, who else is here? Okay. I'm going to go right into having breakfast with my Cashew gallery this morning. What are you grateful for? Every start of the show, we balance out the bad news with good news and starting to exercise our muscle for, let me put that thing off here, our muscle for looking for things that are good. There's plenty of people telling you what things are not good out there. And there is more good than not. But if we are hijacked by media, weapon of mass distraction, thank you, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, for that, you will have a bad day, guaranteed. If you start your day with news, bad news, usually it's either government corruption, natural disaster, or who done who wrong. And that usually puts me in a bad mood. So I haven't had a TV for like 8 years. I'm on the news, but I don't watch the news. Or you're doing this, MS, meaningless scrolling. You're probably going to be in a bad mood. So since Monday is always Mental Health Matters Mondays, it's especially important for us to start with gratitude. Okay, top of the bun, 8 things that we're grateful for. Bottom of the bun, 8 things that we like about ourselves. I see some movement in the cashew gallery. Let's see what we've got. We've got Tony saying, I am grateful. Oh, wait, there's a first one here. I'm thankful for the holiday week. It's a short work week. Yes, it is. And I am grateful that today, right after the show, I am driving all the way up the beautiful coast of California to do a book signing in Berkeley on Tuesday at Fern's Garden, and then make Thanksgiving dinner with my daughters. They invited me up to San Francisco, both of my girls. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 gratitudes from me. And then let's see. Sci-Fi Mommy is grateful for kids and fur babies. Aw, what kind of fur babies? And we did that one already. Oh no, grateful for a national holiday set aside to reflect on all the things we have to be thankful for. Yeah, it's one of my favorite holidays for sure. And hopefully it will set the tone for us all to be grateful for the rest of our lives. Because truly, there is so much to be grateful for. Especially, I am streamed, and I have over 100 countries that have visited my show at one point or another and are streaming in. I know I have regular supporters in Africa, in Portugal, in England, and I know that India and China also stream in, and we here are in the top either 3 to 8% of the lifestyle that we complain about. It's amazing when I go shopping and listen to people complain, but we live in the top 8%. If we have a roof over our head, food in the fridge, and money in our wallet. So, hey, I hope you are super grateful for this coming holiday. Let's see, Sci-Fi also grateful for the short week. Thank you. Safe travels. Cats. I'm allergic, so they like me, but my body reacts, but I'm sure they're beautiful. I know that one of my other regulars, Maria, has cats as well. I just think it's really funny how independent they are. Although my niece in Australia, who I get to visit when I'm on tour over the holidays, has cats that are pretty social. But you know you're loved when a cat will come up to you and you're a stranger. So hopefully that means I have pretty good vibes. Anyways, okay, we have like more than enough gratitudes. Let's go to the bottom of the button. And especially on Mondays, this is important to do. If you cannot approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect other people to approve of you? And many of the youngins have gotten into the habit going to social media with their antenna on, looking for approval. Who likes me? Literally, how many likes, which is probably why I'm so anti-number, because it is not a reflection of me. It is a reflection of how many people have found something that resonates with them. And I'm not like the best thing for everyone. And so I think this emphasis on numbers has really warped our sense of value. So I want you to find your own value. So what do you like about yourself? I will start with, I like my balance, because that's what it's all about. All right. We joke on our show, they own us. Yes, cats, they do. You are their human. And what do you appreciate about yourself, Mombi and Troy? I appreciate that I am, and Frank, you can also jump in there. Frank is my fabulous sound engineer who I really miss when he's not here. I appreciate my ability to work somewhat well with others, 88% of the time.
I appreciate that I love to laugh. It's my favorite sound on the planet. I appreciate my easy way with people, and I've been getting a lot of compliments about my ability to interview. So I really appreciate those compliments, and I am owning that particular skill. Sci-Fi Mombi says he appreciates his determination. Awesome. And then we'll wrap it up. Troy Batelli, he appreciates my patience. Okay, patience. You have patience as a doctor. I know you're saying the other patients, which is actually super funny because I do not have the P word in my vocabulary at all. So there you go. You have my patience. Sci-Fi Mombi, he appreciates the sense of humor. And that wraps it up for Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and my cashew gallery today. I hope that you continue this discipline. 28 days, if you do this exercise, breakfast with me in the morning, I promise you, you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. So thank you for joining me. That was wonderful. Munching on gratitude with my cashew gallery. All righty, what we got going on today? Well, I know it's normally Mental Health Mondays, but I got to interview a number of really great nonprofits that I wanted to highlight. And so I am going to bring them to you. One of the things that I really love doing this weekend, you know, my job on the weekends and after hours, because I love to do a lot of different things, is do Dr. Marissa Reporting Live, which is kind of the title today of the show. And what that means is I go cover events that are my New York news agency that I freelance with will send me on stories that I cover. And then when I find one that I really like, I bring it to you. So let's see. This is the one that I'm talking about. Hopefully you can hear this one.
So you know me as the Asian Oprah, reporting live here in Long Beach, my home city. And you know how I love to balance out the bad news with some good news. And we have a wonderful event here today.
I'm with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Fishing in the City program. We are out here today with our partners, the Long Beach Parks, Recreation and Marine, and the Dan Hernandez Youth Foundation, to offer a free public fishing event for the kids aged 15 and under. Parents don't need to worry about whether or not you have gear. We have all that for you here. We have free bait, and a little bit later on today, they'll have a lunch for the kids and an opportunity drawing as well.
Fantastic. Where can they get more information? This is at El Dorado Park, right?
We're at El Dorado Regional Park. You can look at all of the Fishing in the City programs events at fishinginthecity.org. Want to click on LA Orange, and follow us. But we do have, it's a statewide program. So
how does it feel to catch a fish? Good. Yeah, you're gonna want to do it again? Yeah. All right. If you could do this for me, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now look in my eyes. You know that you can do anything you put your heart and mind to, right? Yes? All right. Do a peace. Ooh, peace. All right. Good.
Isn't that cute? The best part of it was there were 5 stations. And at every station, like this is for kids that have never fished before. I do not have the P word to fish, by the way. But these kids, it was a free event. And at every station, they were able to learn one, facts about fish, why they're important in the ecosystem. 2, safety, right? 3, how to catch a fish. And then the catch and release program. So it was an educational, wonderful thing that, a lot of really great, the government does, here's the moose on the table. my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. I have heard so many complaints constantly about the government, what they don't do, people swearing about the current, mayor the other day. And I just wanted to take her to task because it's like, you don't give people credit for what they do. The tendency is to look for the doo-doo and be so critical. And we have so many great programs, and then, oh, that's such a waste of money. It's like, come on, guys. Why don't we look at what is going well? The public schools that are going well, the teachers that are doing well, all the things that are absolutely working for our best and divine good. And I just thought this program was wonderful. It's all over the state. He told me, such a nice guy. And I forgot to text him to tell him that I would be talking about him today. I just have like way too many things on my plate. I know. But it's just great that I get to use this platform to highlight them. So if you've ever been interested in fishing, if you are, spending your weekends inside still because you still think you're in the pandemic, there's so many things to do outside. Go grab a kid who doesn't, who may be in the foster home system. My oldest daughter, I'm so proud of her. She is a ward for a kid in the foster system. There's a program you can get certified in. There's so many ways to volunteer. There's so many things that you can do to not only make you feel good, because that's the most important thing. Because if you're volunteering and feeling like overly stressed and you hate it, then don't do it. But the first and foremost thing is, feel good about that. And then you're helping someone secondly, which is, the way that I like to do the order of things so that you're actually happy doing what you're doing. All right. Let's see. Okay, Troy. I got to look at that later. But speaking of which, I am not on Troy's show this Friday. It is the following Friday. I'm getting my time. It's on December 1st. So ignore what I just said, which is good because I was going to tell you that I don't know if I want to spend the time that I have with my girls on your show, but that took care of that because I'm not going to have to. That's funny. I love how my life works. All right. I fixed something that I didn't even know was an issue. So that was my Dr. Marissa reporting live. If you just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in studio today, I have several interviews that I'm showing today because I want to balance out the bad news with the good news. And at least once a month, I like to focus on nonprofits. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to bring you another one. And this is sort of continuing on with the veterans. I actually did this interview earlier when it was Veterans Week, honoring Veterans Week. But I didn't get a chance to show it until now. But it's a wonderful program called the Veterans History Project. And so I brought someone and interviewed her so that you could hear about that and what's going on. And so there's a call to action as well. So take a listen and enjoy.
All right, and you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Have a little bit of news for you today. The Library of Congress Veterans History Project is one that I've been keeping an eye on, especially with honoring our veterans. And I found out that they collect the stories and artifacts to memorialize the sacrifice of people who served. Joining me today is Mohindra, Director of the Veterans History Project, here with the details about a special effort to remember the unsung heroes of the Commissioned Corps. In addition to the stories of combat veterans, the Veterans History Project is looking to preserve the history of heroic vets who served by responding to natural disasters or public health crises. Please welcome to my studio, Mohindra.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Dr. Marissa.
Absolutely. So, first question, what is the Veterans History Project?
The Veterans History Project here at the Library of Congress is really your opportunity and your listeners' opportunity to connect with the nation's library, both yourself and the veterans in your life, maybe loved ones, maybe community members, maybe folks you haven't even really thought of who are veterans, to preserve and make accessible their firsthand narratives of service in the U.S. military, those who served from World War I through the more recent conflicts. And in hearing directly from them and donating those interviews and documentation of their first-person experience, we can all understand what they saw, heard, what they did and felt during their time of service. And that's really there for all of us, for the nation, to access and to better understand our collective history.
Very, very important. Why is it important to also recognize the men and women who serve in the Commission Corps?
If you close your eyes and you think to yourself, what image comes to mind when you say the word veteran? For so many of us, that is informed by what we've read, movies, television shows, and it might be a particular visage of an individual. But the reality is that so many more folks have served and are serving us still today, even though their service is over, by the work that they accomplished. The Commission Corps of the U.S. Public Health Service was founded more than 200 years ago, and it is one of the 8 uniformed services of the United States. However, most of us don't necessarily immediately think of them as veterans, even though through former service, they are now veterans. And their work really has a direct and critical impact on protecting our nation's health, so then individual health, in all 50 states as well as overseas.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not think of that earlier, but definitely, and certainly with the health crises we've had, for sure. Please share some examples of the heroic efforts of these veterans.
These brave women and men are trained and educated, and they put their well-being aside with little notice, like, service members in all the branches, to assist and to be there when called. They've done so. You might have heard of it. You mentioned the recent pandemic. You might have heard of the USS Comforts and Mercy, which were stationed or in situations where people were served by our service and uniformed members for vaccines, for testing for the pandemic. Of course, they were there in the response and wake to Hurricanes Rita and Katrina and Sandy out in, where the Loma Prieta earthquake was in Upper California in 1989. They were there for that. And they are there to ensure that our health and well-being happens when those things occur here in our country, but also they were at the front lines of the Ebola crisis. And that has direct impact with our public health and safety today.
Yes, definitely deserves some recognition. Now, what kind of contributions is the Veterans History Project hoping to receive?
We want people to go to our website, loc.gov/vets. LOC for Library of Congress.gov, short for government, /vets, VETS, short for veterans, to find the instructions and the material, the inspiration, the field kit, which has the required forms for archival purposes. And through that, they can help us. You can help us by ensuring that we have the multitude of these critical first-person experiences to understand this collective effort all the better. And through that, we hope to get audio and video interviews and first-person documentation in the form of original photographs, letters, and diaries. We already have 117,000 of these, but with 19 to 20 million living veterans out there, now is the opportunity to make sure that all the myriad voices are part of this important national effort.
Wow. So this is a very important effort to document and get and solicit and have the veterans that are part of the Commission Corps um, to share, right, their experiences frontline in all of these areas.
Absolutely. Some veterans might have already participated, but not shared about their relief and rescue, their public health experiences. This is the time to go back to the website, loc.gov/vets, and contribute more to their existing collections. The collections do remain open, or for those who have not yet participated, to gather with the other former service members in their lives. Sometimes you ask a veteran about their service and they say, I didn't really do anything. You need to talk to my Aunt Millie. She was really groundbreaking. Or this gentleman that I know over here, he did some extraordinary things. And so sometimes it's a veteran that's going to get through to another veteran to ensure that we don't lose these stories to history, but that they become part of our collective history.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is a very well needed, just in time, valuable project. And I'm glad that I can help in any way. Please, anyone who knows of anyone that has had this experience, were involved in the Commission Corps with health, all these health kind of situations, that we are really indebted to them for the value in helping us as humankind, emphasis on kind. Please go to www.loc.gov/vets for the Library of Congress Veterans History Project that has just been described to us by Monica Mohindra, the director of this project. I want to thank you so much for your part in making sure that these important contributions stay alive and are shared with all of us.
Just like military service, it's a collective effort, and I'm really grateful for your spotlight on this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again.
Lost me again. I hope you enjoyed that. I was really struck by a number of things. One, it's true. We don't think of veterans as the people on the front line on the health thing. That was, again, looking for the light and the good and the positive things. It's not just, going overseas and valuing them, which is also important. If you missed the two interviews that I did with the author of At First Light, and Troy can speak to this because I know that he really, really enjoyed that interview, and I had him come back a week later to continue his story of his father who fought in World War II. It was truly an amazing story, and he's so sweet. He kept saying, "You're not the Asian Oprah. You lied. You are Oprah." It was so cute. But anyways, the second one went as fast as the first one. But truly, Troy was saying, thank you for the focus that I put on veterans. And I'd like to take credit for that. But honestly, until this year, I think I only did what was like the minimum requisite on Veterans Day, doing a show. I like to, Wounded Warriors is another a great organization that I had on last year, and they provide dogs for wounded veterans, and every year, Veterans for Peace. But it wasn't until this year that I really embodied and it hit my heart that no matter how I feel about war, this throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is what I was guilty of doing, not acknowledging and the good doctor. I packed and worked until 2:30 this morning so I could leave. He said the 3 S's: the sacrifice, the suffering, and the success of, of veterans who were able to liberate. And I know, there's this anti-war, and I'm not pro-war. I don't think I'll ever be pro-war. As my daughter, when she was 8-year-old, said, how do you get to peace with war? But where it is one of those topics that we're not going to answer today. But do you do nothing when you see people suffering? That the Dr. Walt Laramore's dad, went in there and saved the Lipizan horses and the prisoner of war that were there, and liberating Nazi Germany. So those of you on my social saw my interview with Dr. Ruth Westheimer when I was in New York at Book Expo. Her story. Go watch the Hulu special. I mean, it's like, okay, yes, we don't want war, but I never really fully heartfelt that. So what is that solution? I know it's not war, but when you've tried everything else, when you've tried, diplomatic, you've tried everything else. And I know we're faced with that right now with the Gaza, and I don't want to talk about it because there's no solution right now. I actually covered Museum of Tolerance. I didn't put it on the show because it was protesting on both sides. And anyways, suffice it to say that right now it doesn't look like there's a solution. So please, UPS man, Universal Power Source, deliver the inspiration. And I know that solutions are at a different vibration than problems to all those involved, so that, when I see a win-win, that's when I know that that's the solution. Right now, there's no win-win. All right. Let's see. The vast majority of combat veterans are anti-war too. Yeah, case in point. Absolutely. Okay. If you've just tuned in, you're wondering what's going on in studio today. It's a potpourri of good news, balancing out all the bad news out there. We just saw the great California Fish and Wildlife sponsored Long Beach Parks and Rec and Wildlife, and Dan Hernandez's kids organization did that great day of a fishing derby. It was so cute. And then also just now heard from the Veterans History Project. So if you know anyone, this is your call to action. If you know anyone who did serve in that branch of service with healthcare, all of those emergencies, they were deployed for those. Of course, COVID, but many of them, the disasters that happen. Let's reach them to tell their story. Go to, I put it there, go to www. LOC for the Library of Congress. Another thing that I didn't realize Library of Congress did. I just love learning new things, and I love learning how we are benefiting. We're all being a beneficial presence on the planet, Library of Congress included, and the good things that the government does. All right. I do have a repeat visit. He comes every year, and this one is very, very special to my heart, this interview in particular, because I am, let's see, this is the right one. My mom has Parkinson's, and November is Parkinson's Caregivers Awareness Month. So have a listen to this. And welcome back to Take My Advice. I'm not Using a Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And I'm so delighted. It is my annual visit with some very, very special people. Each November, National Family Caregivers Month is commemorated by organizations like the Parkinson's Foundation to honor the hard work by families and friends who help care for people with Parkinson's. This year, as usual, the Parkinson's Foundation is encouraging everyone to show support for the care partner in their lives. Here to discuss the foundation is once again my friend John Lehr, president of the Parkinson's Foundation, and Gil Kim, the primary caregiver for his wife, who was diagnosed with Parkinson's more than a decade ago. Please welcome back to my studio, John Lehr and Gil Kim.
Thanks, Marissa. We appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely, especially those shouldn't be surprised. I speak of this often. My Chinese mom does have Parkinson's. She is 89 now in Toronto in an assisted living, and so all of this is very personal and pertinent and very needed. So here's your first question: why, John, are caregivers so important?
Yeah, so it's just to say that there are millions of people living in the world with Parkinson's disease. In the United States alone, 90,000 individuals are newly diagnosed each year, which means that 90,000 individuals pretty much become the primary care partner for their loved one living with this disease, whether it's a spouse, a child, someone else in the family. And so, we want to take this month, but really the whole year to recognize the incredible work that goes into caring for somebody living with a chronic and sometimes debilitating disease like Parkinson's disease, and to acknowledge the work that they do, to thank them, and to offer a helping hand from time to time, because it can be a 24-hour, 7-day a week job caring for somebody with a chronic condition. And we want to acknowledge them, but also say, hey, we're here to help as well.
Absolutely. Gil, over to you. What is important for caregivers to remember?
That's a great question. When my wife Gina was diagnosed, and our life changed, not all at once, but over time. When your loved one gets a Parkinson diagnosis, you will spend a lot of time learning about the disease and understanding how to care for your loved one. Being a caregiver is a role that I grow into. It does not have to replace any existing role. I'm a husband, father, grandfather, a retired engineer, and now I'm a care partner too. My responsibilities as a care partner have evolved over time as my wife's Parkinson's has evolved. It can become overwhelming, as you noticed it, dealing with your mother of Parkinson. In the beginning, I basically just provide the moral support for my wife. Today, she relies more on me to help with the effects of her Parkinson's. One thing for sure, care partners need to take care of themselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. For me, that looks like going to the gym regularly, having lunch with friends, and being involved with a faith family for spiritual connection. Remember, don't forget to take care of yourself so you can take care of your loved one.
That's a very important point. John, what are some common misconceptions about Parkinson's?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people think of Parkinson's, they see the disease, with their eyes. It's a challenging, difficult disease that affects movement. A lot of times people will see a resting tremor, difficulty walking and balancing and transitioning from one place to the next. So I think there's a lot of visual understanding of the disease, but I think what people don't know is that you can live well with this disease if you do a number of things. No two people have the same course of disease, unfortunately, and some people have a much harder course. But if you take your medications on time, if you live a healthy lifestyle, eat well, sleep well, do all the things you need to do. If you exercise daily or as often as you possibly can, that is really critical. And lastly, we really believe this, and in Caregivers Month, this is the point we're trying to make, is if you have a great care partner who's there with you side by side, step by step, that can really help your life. I mean, people with Parkinson's, most people with Parkinson's eventually will need help. And so, if they've got a great care partner, and if the care partner's taking care of themselves as well, that's really the best of all possibilities. So we think with those 4 ingredients, people with Parkinson's can have a good, high quality of life.
Absolutely. I actually had Don Most, who was Ralph Malph on Happy Days, on with his wife Morgan, who has Parkinson's. And so he's the caregiver, and Morgan was just delightful and gave some great strategies, which I'm going to ask Gil right now to give as well. What are some ways to help?
Well, thank you for asking. Dr. Marissa, I want to commend you for being a caregiver to your mother, especially the long distance from California to Toronto is a pretty long way. I commend you for that. As for me, you have to find the people that will support you. That could be your friends, family, church members, a support group, and sometimes you have to give a paid caregiver. An important point is that a person with a Parkinson's lose a function little by little, making your responsibility as a care partner also change along the way. When you face the difficulties, reach out to the other care partners in the local Parkinson community or through the Parkinson Foundations. I guarantee, based on my experience, you will find another person who has already gone through what you're struggling with. A strong support network is critical for your own well-being and the well-being of the person with a Parkinson. And Parkinson Foundation provides a wealth of resources to meet the care partner's needs.
Yes, absolutely. I love the emphasis on not just the person with Parkinson's, but the person who's the support. It's a great thing. Now, John, are there other details about Parkinson's disease or Parkinson's disease care partners that we should be aware of?
Yeah, we have a huge amount of materials that are available to people living with the disease and care partners of people living with the disease at our website. And we encourage people to go there. There's a whole section on being a care partner. So if you're interested in that, go to parkinson.org. That's our website, parkinson.org. Or if you want to talk to somebody in person, live on the phone, we have a helpline, which is 1-800-4PD-INFO. That's 800-4PD-INFO. And we have materials in both English and in Spanish. So if you're a Spanish speaker and you want to access those materials, we have them both on our website, and people who answer our helpline who speak Spanish as well.
That's phenomenal. And so again, let's go to parkinson.org. A plethora. I've been there. The very first time you came on my show, I went and looked it up, and there is a plethora of great things to help both the person with Parkinson's and, just as importantly, the person who is supporting the person with Parkinson's. Anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to add in?
Just to thank you and all of your listeners for caring about people with chronic diseases like Parkinson's. It's, we're all in this together, and it's the people living with the disease, but also the people caring for the people with the disease. We're truly grateful to have a chance to talk with you today.
Absolutely. Now go recognize National Caregivers Month. Go to www.parkinson.org. Thank you so much for coming on again, John Lehr. We'll see you next year in November. Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you, Gil, and best with you and your wife and what you're doing. And now go and have the best day ever.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as well. If you did not watch that episode with Ralph Malph and Troy, thanks for the reminder. I'm going to share that in a second. But Morgan, one of the best compliments I've gotten on the show is when I first met Don and had him on to celebrate, I believe, was 8 years on the air on camera. And I said, I'd love to, he said that his wife had Parkinson's. And I said, if she's at all amenable to coming and doing an interview, I would love that. And he said, well, she did one interview and she's just doesn't want to do any more. And I said, okay. And then she watched my interview with her husband, and I got the call. She would love to come on my show. And that interview, thank you for the finger. Somebody just gave me a finger, not that one, this one. That interview is one of my favorites. If you know anyone with Parkinson's, have them watch that interview because she gives like real strategies around how to deal with the beast, as she calls it. So I absolutely want you to watch that. Free subscribe on my YouTube channel. I think one of the best things people talk about some of the big caliber guests that I have, and thank you. And a lot of them, I just ask. I say, oh, they're interesting, or I like what they're doing, and I ask, and they say yes, which is always funny for me, because this has been like since day one when I had no reputation at all, and which I just know that this is the work that I'm supposed to do. But she was brilliant. And then another brilliant one that reminds me to mention is Greg O'Brien, who is a Pulitzer winning writer who got early onset Alzheimer's. And to have him on the show to talk about what it's like as a writer, to be losing his memory and all of those things. And wow, that was powerful. So find all those on my YouTube channel. And then last but not least, but very sadly, today we lost another past guest of mine. I just saw the notice. We didn't lose him, sorry. We lost his physical presence, but he is a powerful being who did powerful things on the planet. His name is Bishop Carlton. He actually came on my show twice. And go watch that. One of my favorite shows as well was the trilogy of Michael Bernard Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh, and Bishop Carlton. And that was my power panel. Go watch that one on my YouTube TV channel. 3 powerful men who are global thought leaders, who are hooked into the power that is out there that I call my UPS man, universal power source. So go and watch that on my YouTube channel. But just a breath, if you would, with me now, taking, just closing your outer eye, taking a deep breath in through the nose and release peace and comfort, especially to his daughter, his family, who right now are just grieving the physical loss of Bishop Carlton Pearson. But you have to listen to him speak. The story in a nutshell is, here's a man who had 1 million, and this is not in the days of social media, this was before that, 1 million people in his congregation as a Pentecostal evangelical, hell brimstone type of, leader of that organization. And he was so huge, huge. And woke up one day and had this, mind altering, heart altering wake up. How could this be true? How could God punish and hate gays and, punish anyone who doesn't believe as we do? That does not sound like the God that I want to be preaching about. And he got so much flack. In fact, my interview with him is one of the most hated interviews in my playlist, because for them, his past 1 million congregation, he did something unforgivable. And the hate speech on that particular video is stunning. And I delete, every time it comes, I delete it. But he just died of pancreatic cancer. And, my heart goes out. I love that man. Please watch his video. What he inspires in thought. He's got a way with words that no one else has. I can definitely say that the man is and continues to be on the other side brilliant. So please do watch his interview, and I really wanted to raise that to you. So Bishop Carlton Pearson on my show. That I'm so glad that YouTube, thank you YouTube, for always housing all 1,000. What am I at now? 1,065 podcast shows. I was doing podcasts when they were called podcasts. How's that? All right. So that is it for the interviews. Any comments from my cashew gallery? Let's look over here. I want to introduce you for tomorrow's show, since I have a little time. Tomorrow I have a super interesting guest who is going to be coming on the show. Let's see. Her name is Ruta Lee. And if you're an old movie buff, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Funny Face, Witness for the Prosecution. She received Lithuania's highest honor from the president in a ceremony at the palace. And she was honored by the president, Gitanas Nausėda, and First Lady Diana. She has a very famous Hollywood estate. And all the dignitaries from Lithuania were there. And so she's coming on to talk about, she has a book. I can't say the full title because it's got one of those words I'll get a $20,000 fine for. But she has a fantastic story. Troy, I know that you will very much appreciate, I know you love true stories, but how she escaped to get her family out of Lithuania. It's a memoir entitled Consider Your Assets. I can say that, kissed. So that's tomorrow's show on Tuesday Talent. I'm just so delighted that I continue. Credit to Harlan Ball, who provides me with the most fascinating guests. I definitely, it's my favorite publicist. But that's tomorrow's show. And as usual, we have great series Wednesday, Doctors in the House. The topic she picked, she just emailed me, was family and forgiveness. So that's a big one. All right, Troy's getting ready and excited for tomorrow's show. Thursday, my new co-host, that was a hit. Still getting messages about my new co-host on Thursdays. I know, Troy, you also enjoyed him. James Hawthorne. And then Friday, of course, Tempting Conversations with Alon. Go to my YouTube to see the clip of Trace Austin performing. I got to celebrate 37 years with Agape yesterday. And guess who showed up to play the piano and sing? But Mr. Stevie Wonder himself. So I hopefully will get that out. If I take a break while driving, I'll try to put that video together. But what a wonderful celebration that was. Please go to Doc Balance on Instagram and free subscribe there, and you'll get what people have been very complimentary on my social and what I bring. Again, always balancing out the bad news with good news. Thanks for tuning in today. As usual, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room. And yes, very good looking too. Please do keep it tuned here. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow from San Francisco.